3, 2, 1.
My name is Nick. I'm a full-time trader and entrepreneur. We put out tons of stuff for free for traders. These are real trades. This is real money. I'm putting my money on the line. This is going to be a live trading video here, locking in over $1,000 on this trade. Wow, I'd love to get in on this. Technical insights that really look good to me. Here we go. We're live. Hello friends, welcome back to another live stream. Today is Friday, so we're going to be doing some Friday price action analysis and talking about what's going on in today's world. We just had some news actually, so let me just, before we jump into a whole bunch of charts, let me see if I can give you guys an update on what we just had happen here in the US. So this morning at 8:30 a.m., we actually had CPI numbers come out, which came out at higher than expected CPI month over month, and core CPI came out as expected. So interesting stuff here. So the US dollar, we're going to definitely take a look at the dollar today, see how things are going on or going compared to this news. So again, what this means is that the core or the CPI, right, Consumer Price Index, has come out as higher than expected for the previous month. And what that tells us is that inflation was, at least according to this metric, a little bit higher than expected. And again, when we see higher than expected inflation numbers, the reason that that can be perceived as a positive thing for the dollar is because that kind of puts pressure on the Fed to do something about high inflation. The Fed, like most central banks, does not want high inflation. And so we actually saw a little bit of an initial push to the upside, but look at this. So the dollar kind of doing some weird stuff here. The dollar came out and shot up and then shot right back down here on this news, which is sort of interesting because you kind of would assume that it would see the dollar push a little bit higher. But again, things are volatile in today's market. So when we see this happening today, we can take a look at the 1 hour chart. We can see a little bit of a retracement here when looking at the DXY. So we are seeing a little bit of a haircut coming in for the dollar there today. So when that pulls back, in my view, because I am bullish on the dollar at this time, that could present some opportunities to look for sells on other currencies in favor of that US dollar. Now, again, seeing a little bit of a pullback here today. So what we can do is we can actually take this information and maybe go take a look at some of the individual currency pairs that could be worth taking a look at. So, and probably I'm looking at these more from a next week perspective, looking at the euro dollar here for a moment. We'll start fresh. So we'll just take everything off the charts for a moment. And let's look at this thing from a 4 hour view for a moment. So here's the euro against the dollar. And what you'll notice is that we are still respecting structure for the most part. We still have sellers in control of this area of the chart until further notice. You know, going into next week, we'll see if that can try and break out to the other direction. But, you know, CPI news kind of causing a little bit of volatility there for the dollar today. Not a ton, but some. Now, my view on the euro, as I've been talking about in the last few weeks, is to the downside. But until it gives me sort of that premium area to sell, I'm not really interested in jumping into a whole bunch of trades. This week has truthfully been kind of uneventful for me in terms of taking lots of trades and being super active. And the main reason for that is because usually, you know, my style of trading is that if I'm looking to sell something, right, I like to sell something that is trending lower, but I like to do so at a discount, right, or a pullback. And for me today, with everything going on, with stuff not really pulling back, that just produces not a lot of trade setups for me. So I would be interested in possibly selling euro dollar maybe next week if price tags up into these levels here. Maybe that 1.135 could be of interest, right? So looking at euro dollar next week, we could get an opportunity to maybe look for longer term sells. And again, I'm mostly just aligning myself with the trend of what the overall market is doing. I'm curious to see right now, real quick, if we go to the website, a1trading.com, you guys, as we always say, you're welcome to use this anytime you'd like. It's a bunch of free tools that we've been putting together on our site. If I go to retail sentiment here for a moment, and we'll take a look at the euro. By the way, Julie's been working on this. It looks great. So this is kind of our updated view of the website page. So if you take a look at this chart, we've made it longer so it's a little bit easier to read. But anyways, if I look at the euro dollar here, for example, you can see that 75% of the traders on myfxbook.com, which are predominantly retail traders, they are long on the euro, right? So we know that the euro USD is being bought by retail traders. So if we know that information, right, then what I'll go do is I will probably take on a slightly more bearish bias just from that alone, right? Because if I know that the average retail trader is buying this thing, then I am probably going to look to sell it, right? And the main reason for that is we know that retail traders, usually they lose money. They're very emotional. They don't manage risk, right? They just kind of go all in on trades and they go with their gut. And what we know about institutional traders is they tend to trade trends. They tend to fade retail money. They make good money just kind of going against them. And it's not that easy. You still have to manage risk. You still have to do all the technical and fundamental research and analysis that we so often do on the streams. But just by looking at that information, I find that to be very helpful in the terms of like a sentiment report, right? So looking at Euro USD, like I mentioned, maybe next week we get a tap up into that 113.5 level, could be of interest. So we'll keep that one on the book. We'll take a look at here pound dollar next. So GBP USD here for a moment. We'll just tap in and see what's going on. And this one's still just kind of really boring, right? Seeing kind of just like a continued flow to the downside. So just kind of draining down. And for the most part, right, when I look at the pound, this thing is just very sell strong, right? The sell trend is just so strong. And if you're looking at maybe the 1 hour chart, maybe there's some opportunities to just be trading this move, right? But it's it's kind of like a very slow, choppy downtrend. So right now, maybe you have sells on pound dollar. Maybe you're just kind of going with this flow, which would be awesome if you're kind of that shorter term intraday trader. But for me, I'm really interested in looking at the pound dollar on a bigger term, pullback. If we do we look like we're trying to find a bottom. If we do in fact find a bottom, I will probably look for possible shorts should we start to find support and kind of rally up to a level of resistance. It's kind of choppy though, so I'm just going to say I think this is probably not my favorite currency pair at the moment. Maybe a pullback here could get me interested. So if we're looking at this thing from, going into next week, maybe we get a strong rally up to 133.50. That could be of interest, right? Because then you probably get like what, a 50% retracement off of this level. So yeah, about a 50% retracement. That could be of interest, right? So if price were to pull back in that context, then you've kind of got that overall downtrend with a pullback entry. That would be more interesting for me. But again, selling down here, it does seem like we've gone quite a bit to the downside. We've extended ourselves quite a bit. And so for the time being, I am more interested in looking for sells only if price starts to rally. And this is what I mean. Like you start doing this on enough pairs, you realize there are just times where your trade setups are not there, and that's okay. And you just kind of move on with it. I would like to talk about AUDUSD, however, which has been kind of retracing and starting to near an area where I may get interested again at trying to take a sell trade. So here is Aussie dollar. This is actually kind of like a daily chart analysis, truthfully, because we could take a look at the 1 day and you would see this really easily. So strong downtrend overall, right? And getting that pullback. So again, you've had just extensive move down, lots of sell pressure there. And then now finally starting to see something from the bulls. The reason I like to do this, the reason I like to approach markets this way is because I don't, although I made some great money selling in this period of time, I eased off around here, right? I didn't catch the full move. I caught a majority of this move. So if you guys have been watching the channel, for those of you who are newer to the streams or content, I took a lot of shorts on Aussie dollar, pretty much like all during this period of time. Like that's not an exaggeration. I was pretty much short the AUDUSD several different times in that period of 2 or 3 weeks. It was a great run for my trading account. Honestly, I wish every week was like that. It's not, but I wish it was. It'd be amazing. So I had a really good win streak during this time. And I actually decided to ease off on the selling once we started to break through support here. Things looked really good to the downside. I made some money on it, closed out of positions, and I decided to wait for a pullback. Because again, what happens is we get these extensive moves and then followed by, at some point, there's a big corrective quick move, right? And for me, as a seller in a trend, I don't want to be selling the bottom of the trend. I'd really be interested in picking up again. There's always, a setup arising. So I don't need to rush and chase markets, right? So for me, not chasing means giving it a chance to counter trend for a little bit, giving it a chance to pull back, to reload, and so that I could find fresh sellers, right? Because if we're going to do another move like this, very often what we see in markets is you see a big move, big impulsive move, a corrective move, and this serves as a way to let some profit takers get out. It allows some new sellers to step in. And again, that is kind of what I'm looking for on the AUD/USD right now. So as we retest structure here at 0.72, maybe next week, if we get a pop on the AUD/USD, there may be an interest for me to possibly pick up another sell trade, right? And maybe reload, right? So again, we've had that big impulsive move. We've now seen a little bit of a pullback. And now there's probably a healthy appetite from some sellers like myself and others to look for something like this, right? A sell at that 38.2 and structure, and placing a stop, so in case I'm completely wrong about that, I don't lose everything, right? I'm going to keep my position size very small, place a stop on my trade, and if I take that, you guys will see it inside of Discord. For those of you guys who are already in the Discord, I'm still short on euro yen at this time. Price had a little bit of volatility this morning, but now is falling back nicely. So we'll keep tabs on that one. Of course, if I make any updates, you guys will see that inside of the Discord channel. Just so you guys can see it, we'll do this really quick so you can see. We'll go to the, where is it? The trade alerts section. Here you go. So if we look at the trade alerts section, let's go down to, oh, what's been going on? There we go. So euro yen. So I shorted this thing on a retest of structure. We could take a look at euro yen on the big chart in just a moment. But, with every trade that I take, the idea is I share the technical breakdown. I share a picture of what the technical analysis looks like. I share my entries, my exits, etc. And so we are still just at break even inside of the group, but it is looking beautiful after that recent sell-off. It put in a nice structural point. So what I'll do is I'll actually just pull this up. So euro yen. So euro yen is a market that I'm currently short on, and you can see it's doing the right things. So let's see. Sold this at 128.684, 128.684. So I shorted right around here. I was a little bit early because price did a little bit of like a little move against me, but fortunately my stop loss was just out of distance. And now stop was about 50 pips, so somewhere like here. And now currently, I guess we're sitting positive right now. So we're sitting at about a 1-to-1. So I actually already moved my stop loss to break even. So what I did is I took that stop and I moved it to break even. So at worst case, I just closed out for break even. So again, price popped up against me this morning. So you can see it kind of was headed back to my stop loss. But fortunately, we did get a little bit of rejection in this area. And now I'm actually going to use that rejection. I think my plan here today, you guys inside of the VIP group, my goal is probably to just trail stops back down further, probably below this high that we just put in for the day. Actually, that is probably what I will do. So yeah, plan would be to take that stop loss. It is currently sitting at break even, and to go ahead and probably just trail it behind where we just saw that swing high. And that's kind of how I trail stops. I use structure to do so. So again, sold here, price went against me a little bit, came down. I was able to move my stop loss to break even, right? So I took that trade, took the risk off the trade. And now the question is just, stop loss initially here, got trailed to break even. Now I will probably, with this nice little sell pressure that we're seeing today, I'll probably take that and just put it above structure there and lock in a little bit of trade or a little bit of profit on the trade. So yeah, Nicholas, talk about that haircut though. Yes, sorry, I've been ignoring it. I've been so into the charts today. Yeah, I don't know. I was playing around with it this morning, and so I actually started out with a really bad hair day today, and then I just played with it, and we're just gonna go with it. I don't know. I tried the middle part. Can you guys do me a bro favor and let me know? Does it look silly? Does it look okay? I don't know. I'm so used to at this point getting, will your haircut affect market volatility? Probably, man. That's why we're seeing a little spike right now. I don't know. I liked it. I showed it to my girlfriend, my fiance. Gotta be careful with that. I'll get in trouble. It's I showed it to her today, and we just couldn't decide. She was like, I don't know, I like it, I don't like it. So I don't know. We're just trying it today. Maybe it's gone tomorrow and you never see it again. But I'm not sure. She does like it. I mean, she was like, it's okay. I think we both agreed it probably needs to be longer if I'm gonna do that, but you know, we go with it. We go with whatever. She was like, are you gonna change it back? And I was like, nah, I'm just gonna sit on YouTube and either get made fun of or whatever. We'll figure it out. But you know, at this point, I spend so much time on the camera that I'm just used to it. So good or bad, you get what you get here with me. So thank you guys, by the way, for being here. We are sitting at about 300 people in the stream. So if you're enjoying this content, if you're enjoying making fun of my haircut with me, do me a favor and just hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you're new. And yeah, do I know how to do a vote? Chandler, try something out for me. Can we do a vote somehow? Chandler is our producer back end. Is there any way that we could do a vote? I would love to do a vote on whether or not you guys think this haircut is ridiculous or if it's half decent. Because I'm not going to say good. I'm just going to say half decent. Is it half decent or is it just silly? Because I genuinely need to know. I'm curious. It looks very different, right? It's very different than what I'm used to. I kind of look like a little medieval squire or something. But you know, you look like Jack from the Titanic. My girlfriend thought I looked like Drake Bell, which is probably not the look to be rocking right now. But, you know. Yeah, I want to vote on it, but I don't know how. Okay. Well, anyways, we'll keep doing analysis. Chandler, if you figure anything out, I'm curious, but no pressure. I'm not sure how we would do a vote, to be honest. If anybody knows. Can you do a vote on YouTube? Hold on. It's Friday, you guys. Give me just a second. This is important stuff. This is cutting edge technology. Poll cards. So engage your fans through YouTube poll cards. It's been a while since. Okay, so apparently you can do a vote on YouTube. It's important, you guys. I know you want market analysis. You didn't come here to talk about my hair, but here we are. Okay, so give me a second. Okay, let me just. I'm curious if I can do it in the chat somehow. Can I do? Oh, I can. Guys, it's time. Flame me right now. Okay, hold on. I can do it. Taylor, I figured it out. It's just a poll in the chat. So, what do you think of my new haircut? Man, I tried to be slick with it, you guys. I literally did not try and make this stream about my hair, but literally every time I look at the chat, I don't see a single thing about Forex. I just see people talking about my hair. What do you think of my new haircut? Okay. Ridiculous. Half decent. Like I said, I'm not going to ask for good. All right, here it is, you guys. Please vote on the poll. Did it go in? Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Vote on the poll, my friends. Let's see. Actually, please be nice. I'm like really nervous now. Now that I just put that. Okay, all right. The poll is in. Again, this is very important stuff. We'll take a look at more currency pairs as we go along, as you guys completely ruin my day with what you think of my hair. Because let's see how's it look. Oh, it's 50-50. Come on, half decent people. Make me feel better. I don't know. I think it looks funny, but it is what it is. I didn't want to redo my hair today, you know? So anyways, we'll take a look at some more pairs. Here's Aussie yen here. So we'll take a look at Aussie yen. Having a good week, really bounced off of the lows, but honestly, still, in my view, still in a seller's market. Still overall to the downside. Good thing you found it. That's why you're the boss. No, Chandler. It's just that I found a way to do it on the community, or like when I joined the stream itself. That was just for further notice or for future notice. That's how we can do it. But yeah, so Aussie yen still a downward channel, right? Here's the regression line. You can see for the most part a lot of interest as we near the top of this range. Aussie yen looks like it's trying to break out. It looks like it's trying to change directions here. But again, I would be cautious because you're talking about, a very, very risky currency versus a very low risk currency right now. And just given everything that's been going on recently, it seems like the market is a little bit cautious in terms of risk appetite. So I would say that if anything, Aussie yen with this kind of downward structure is probably worth considering more pressure to the downside. So as we near the top of this range, again, we've seen structure hold here. So we'll just have to watch to see if this thing can break out. Now, if you're a counter trend trader or if you're looking for a new trend to arise, watch for the opposite. Watch for a breakout, watch for retests of structure here, looking for continuations. If you're kind of like, okay, I think Aussie yen is going higher, I would say watch for the break of this level because that's a big spot, right? Now, if you're a seller, you probably don't want to see that hold. So for example, if you think Aussie yen is going down and let's say you decide to take a sell, maybe stops above this area if you're sort of shorter term, or maybe stops above here if you are longer term and looking for price to either respect that quickly or, find resistance in the general area. Depends if I would say this is more oriented towards a swing trader and this is more oriented towards a shorter term day trader slash short-term trader. So let's see, what's the poll looking like? Let's see it. Can I refresh the stream to get a view of the poll? I'm holding my breath. Let's see what the poll says. It's still 50-50, you guys. It's 51-49 between half decent and ridiculous. Honestly, that's not good. I'm not going to take that as a compliment at all. 53, we jumped a little bit. It's half decent. I don't know. I'm glad this is entertaining to some of you guys. Could have researched a better haircut. I'm sorry. It's we're at 51% now. It's half ridiculous decent. See, it would have been probably really way more ridiculous if we got if we had like it looks good or ridiculous. I feel like it would be in a terrible spot right now because half decent is very lenient there. Do you have a hat handy? I'm getting roasted by Clifford in the chat. I love it. Okay, so yeah, Aussie yen, I would say just be cautious in terms of the risk off appetite. I would say that you kind of have, like I said, more pressure to the downside, if anything. So as we reach resistance, my first reaction would be probably going to see that thing fade. But again, if we see the breakout, which I think is the less likely scenario, I wouldn't be surprised to see it, rally further from there. The thing is, if you're looking at like Aussie yen, right, and you say, most likely we think it's going down in basis of the trend, right? If that's the first response, okay, cool. Then you have to say, well, what if we're wrong about that and things break out? And there's some sort of catalyst, maybe fundamental or a big technical breakout, and we start to see going into next week a full-blown reversal and things start to trend higher. The thing for me is I try not to like assert my opinion of where the market's going, like beyond what I'm seeing on the chart. So for example, if I think my first reaction on Aussie yen would be more sell side. If I'm wrong about that, if we see a breakout, that's how I know, hey, I was wrong. Let me stop out. Let me reset and let me reconsider things. And then I'll look for, if I'm now bullish, if there's something that changes fundamentally about the market, I'll start to look for trades the other way. Thing is, you just gotta be patient with the setups. You got to be looking for stuff that presents well, but if you're wrong, you're wrong. And that's important just to be aware of points of being correct or being incorrect. That's why we use a stop loss, right? The idea of a stop loss is it's a way to tell us that we're wrong. Hey, cut the loss and be over with it. The problem is a lot of times what traders do, right, is they get all up in arms when they're wrong. So for example, let's say we're taking a look at pound yen, and let's say you have a sell bias on pound yen, which to me, I kind of do right now. Again, right now, short-term yen bullishness is kind of my opinion. So if we're looking at this thing and we're saying, okay, let's say it comes back to 38.2 next week. And let's say I take a sell trade, right? I'm selling the pound against the yen. Things look pretty good to the downside for me. And I enter into a position. So I enter into a sell trade here. Let's say that I'm just like, here's what a lot of retail traders, a lot of average new losing traders will do. What they'll do is they'll take a position here and they'll say, okay, I sold it here. And then when it starts to go up, what they'll do is like, oh man, I'm not going to stop out. What I'm going to do is I'll just, I'll try and hold it to see if it comes back down. Right. And then it goes like this. Right. And then they're saying, oh my gosh, well, that doesn't look so good. So what I'll do is I'll just hold it for longer. Right. And then it just keeps going. And if you had a technical basis for taking this trade and you had a fundamentally, sound reason, the idea being sell here with a stop above to limit that loss, then that's absolutely, you're forgetting completely the idea of what a stop loss does. It stops you out of a losing idea, right? Something that you were incorrect about. Your idea was it was coming down from here, not it's coming down from way up here, and maybe eventually it will get you back to break even before it blows your account, right? That's the problem with so many, holding on to losing approaches. Now, if you're approaching it with a partial entries, that's a whole nother conversation. For example, let's say that you want to take a small trade here. And let's say you want to take a small trade here and you want to take a small trade here. Let's say that you're looking at like the daily chart, like longer term. There are approaches and strategies that I myself like to use, which are partial small entries. So in this case, I will say, as long as you have some exit plan to keep things under control if they go wrong. So for example, you take sell number 1 here. You take sell number 2 here, you take number 3 here, and then you have like an ultimate stop loss if it keeps going. That's, I would say, fine if you think like if you're going for more of like a longer term view and you want to take partial entries. That's reasonable if you have a plan, right? The thing that's not reasonable with there's so many different good strategies out there. There's so many more bad strategies. The main idea though, is that whatever you do, just have a plan for what you're going to do if it goes wrong. And the plan cannot just be, I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope that it comes back, because that gets really dangerous, right? The plan should be, I have a max stop out in mind. I have a stop loss on my trade. Whatever your approach is, just think first about what you're going to do if you're completely wrong. That's probably the best advice that I've ever received in trading, is just always assume, what are you going to do if you're wrong in a trade, right? Because you can be wrong on any and every idea that you ever put in the markets. There's risk involved for a reason. There's no, no certainty when it comes to trading. So that's the idea. Let's see. What else can we take a look at? We'll take a quick look at gold. Is gold doing anything today? Yes, gold is trying to make a move today, which is kind of cool. So we'll take a quick look at the gold market, XAU USD, looking at the 1 hour chart. So jumping on inflation news today, which is kind of an interesting little move there. So we saw here's where CPI came out, right? CPI was higher than expected, which showed a little bit higher inflation, which is interesting. We saw gold jump off of that basis. And now, again, kind of when watching this gold move, I'm hesitant unless we start to see some break. So if you're like short term, it is a Friday, so we do have the weekend like right around the corner. But if you're looking at this thing and you're saying, okay, watching for a breakout, maybe there's opportunities like that, but I would just be cautious because it is Friday, right? So that's the idea. Kelvin says, good question, Kelvin. Do you only trade certain pairs? And do you have like a watch list or something? So good question. So in terms of pairs that I trade pretty much all major currencies crossed against each other based on fundamentals and on technicals. So I know a lot of traders, what they'll do is they'll trade like one pair, right? They'll just trade things like pound dollar or pound yen, and they'll have like their selected pairs in mind. But for me, what I do is I trade based on what is fundamentally moving. So for example, if I'm looking at the S&P 500, I have a bullish bias. Maybe I'm trading things like Aussie yen, pound yen to the long side. It shifts based completely on what is going on in the fundamental world. So because I'm a fundamental trader, the pairs that I trade changes. But I know there are some traders who like to just trade gold, just trade, dollar CAD, things like that. So I'm respectful to that. I just personally, I trade a lot more pairs, but I don't take a lot of trades. I just have a lot on my watch list, if that makes sense. So with that said, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me today. Thank you very much for being here. I hope you got something out of it. What was the end result? So it came out 50-50 still. You guys did not help at all. So We had 252 votes, 51 to 49%. I'm going to take that as a win, even though it's probably not. Thank you guys very much for being here. Have a great rest of your day. Trade safe, and we will be back next week with more content. Make sure to subscribe. And with that said, we will see you back in the next one. See you guys later. What's up, you guys? Thank you so much for making it to the end of today's stream. It really does go way more than you know towards supporting this content and our team here behind the scenes that makes all of this content possible. Before you go, I want to invite you to join our free Telegram and our free Discord, which will both be linked down below in the description. We share trading ideas, we share tips and tricks, broker recommendations, things that may be helpful to you in your trading career. And again, it's completely free, so down below in the description, click those links, join us there, and we'll see you in the next stream.